have livestock, you could have stones, you could have trolleys. But these are things that, for some reason, the operators, if there was proper fencing, proper walling, or something like that, we would have actually eliminated those from people entertaining or entering the network itself. Now, in terms of operators who were recorded 17.8% per million train kilometers increased, which was an increase when you compare to the 2020-21 reporting period. Now, FWIs, it was 2.21 between rolling stock on the running line, which is somehow also concerning, because running lines should actually be our safe haven, if we are supposed to be, if people were to respect our own network itself. The Gauteng province itself, because of its congestion, probably 87 of all train collisions, all train harm collisions were recorded, of which this was from 2010-11, which is something concerning. Now, when you go to the category B, the derailments, which is a short circuit one with all the three subcategories, you also see somewhat the same picture. No movement, but the occurrences were still there. 317, 2018, 19, 382 in 2019, 20, 325. Are we saying 300 is our minimum or is our target? Are we saying that if we perform or have less than 300, we didn't do good? It would probably be good if you could reduce this to about 100 and then thereafter move to 0. Now, on a normalized curve per million train kilometer, we were doing quite good in terms of getting this to decline. However, from 2018-19, we are going back to a peak. In terms of the narrative, 15% decrease in total derailments were recorded last year, which is 2019-20. 38% increase in the total train derailments per million train kilometer since last year. So 2% decrease in derailments per million train kilometer since 2010-11. Honestly speaking, if we decrease by 2% per year or for over such a long period, we should be really concerned. We should have a bigger percentage decrease, which then should say we are actually doing better. So derailments on the rolling stock on the lines, BA accounted for only 25% of the recorded derailments, but resulted in 85% of FWIs, 78% of all fatalities, and 88% of injuries since 2010-11. Are we in the business of killing people, or are we in the business of moving people and providing transport for freight? These are concerns that we have to ask ourselves. Then we have Gauteng being the driver of FWIs with 53%, followed by KwaZulu-Natal with 16%, and the Western Cape. Now, if you look at all these are corridors which should dominantly be populated by people, which will have mostly informal settlements, which will have high populations of people or high commuter people numbers, people who use the network itself. But if you intend to kill them, then you should be really concerned. Then we come to the thorn, something that not necessarily the operator doesn't necessarily have control over it, but the operator bears a brunt thereof, because it's a interchange of the public directly with the railways. Now, in terms of the level crossings, we seem to be doing good, but our municipalities, the authorities, doing good in terms of making sure that people still respect level crossings, or people are just dicing with trains to make sure that they can perform better on the railways? So the question remains to say, in the first place, do we really need level crossings? Because if you can build bridges, yes, it's expensive, but if you could build them to eliminate level crossings, why not do it? some of the questions that we ask ourselves when we try to understand what these figures are saying. Similar to the previous two categories, we were on the decline since 2015. Then we started to increase again. Maybe we are in a market of making sure that we prove a point. Somehow we declined during 2019-20, and again we're increasing back again during the 2020-21 reporting period. Northwest KwaZulu-Natal and the Western Cape accounted for 53% of the level crossing occurrences. 30%